Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Just kind of wanted to jump right into today's video. Thanks so much for clicking. The very first thing I'm showing here is my first step in prepping the natural nail plate. So you'll see me just go through and push back that cuticle. You shouldn't feel any type of pain, or else you're pressing a little bit too hard on the living tissue that's still at that cuticle area meeting the nail plate or the nail bed. So you just really gently want to push it back a little bit. You can also kind of do a scraping motion. So if you're scared about putting too much pressure and pushing back, you can kind of hold it at about a 45 and scrape back and forth just a little bit, and that will also lift that cuticle fold for you and help with removing any of the dead skin that's there. On the back of this tool, there is also a specific tool that's really pointy, and it gets under that cuticle fold and it takes out any of what maybe you didn't get with just pushing it back. So I'll go ahead and show how that works just here on the pinky, but I'm honestly going to go in and actually use an e-file, so I don't do that for all of them, but you would do this and kind of just follow around that cuticle area, scratching off any of that dead skin or any of the cuticle that may still be stuck to the nail plate. Here I'm going to go ahead and just show you the bit that I'm using. I am taking just a mandrel bit on my e-file. It's going to be my 180, so it is not too coarse where I'm going to damage the nail plate, but I definitely want to roughen up that surface. You do have to have something for the gel to actually stick to. So going around really carefully, I'm just taking any of that dead skin or any of the cuticle that may still be stuck on the nail bed and kind of cleaning that up, and then I will go across the entire nail, and that will ensure that I'm removing any of the excess oils from the nail plate and that I am roughing up the surface enough to have the gel actually adhere. Alright, so next I am going to just take this smaller nail brush and make sure that I am brushing away all the debris that just came up. You want to make sure that you are actually brushing down instead of sidewall to sidewall before going in here and clipping any of the dead tissue that is still remaining. Now you do not have to do this. I do it because I really like a super clean cuticle area, but you can also use a safety bit for the cuticle. It looks like a little round ball, and running that across it will also ensure that you don't actually nip a customer or a client. So here I'm just showing just how much was still attached. And I'll go ahead and speed it up, but still keep the footage so you can see exactly how I do it. Share my world, don't you understand? Your love is a one in a million. It goes on. Alright, and then next I have a 50-50 mix that I did with my acetone and my 91% alcohol. It is my variation of the Young Nails swipe because I'm currently out of that, but I take that to help further dehydrate and prep the nail. Again, making sure that I am actually wiping from the cuticle to the free edge. That way nothing is getting stuck inside of the sidewalls before application. Okay, so moving on, I am going to use some of my long sculptured square tips from Enailcouture. What's nice about these tips is they are a full cover soft gel tip, and these actually come in 12 sizes. So that's number 10 there. I also have number 11. Here we go. I was showing like just how small they get. But sizes 0 through 11, so you'll get 12 different sizes. They do fit me really, really well, so I'll go ahead and size these off camera, but I will show the first one how we're going to get that started. I apologize for being out of view, but pretty much what you want it to do is reach sidewall to sidewall without putting much pressure. So this here fits really, really well. But I'm going to do this with all of them, and then I will be right back. Okay, into one last step. So because I sized and I know I touched my natural nail plate, I'm going to go ahead and go in again with that solution that's 50% alcohol and 50% acetone, just to furthermore dehydrate the nail plate before I move on to the next step. So I am going to be using my Enailcouture prep today, so their entire system along with their nail tips, I think they work best together. Here is me just applying the prep itself. So this is going to be your dehydrator. I do dehydrate my nail bed twice. I have naturally oily nail beds and oily skin, so just to ensure that they are properly going to adhere to the base gel or to the tips at all, I do go over these 2 times before actually priming. Moving on to their primer, this is what I'm going to use along with their base gel. So here I want to make sure that I put a generous amount of the primer, but you don't want to oversaturate that nail bed. So here I'll kind of show you how I put it on, and it's going to be the same way you would with any other primer, but I kind of scrub the surface if you notice, so I can ensure that that's actually getting in between every little crevice there and helping balance out the pH level before we go in with our gel. Now that the natural nail plate is completely dry and that primer is ready, I'm going to go in with Enailcouture's base coat. This is not a step that's 100% necessary. I believe Apres also has their variation of, and they just use extend gel on the nail plate, and then you can use the actual extend gel to adhere. Although I find that with Enailcouture system, it just works a little bit better for there to be a base gel for the actual press-on gel or your extending gel to adhere to. So here I'm just showing you me putting a thin coat on, and then of course we are going to cure these nails for 60 seconds before going in and applying the tips with the press-on gel. Okay, and then next I'm going to go ahead and take that Enailcouture press on gel. This is in the clear shade, and I believe they also have a pink, although the pink to me does not adhere as strongly. So I was kind of struggling showing exactly how I get it on, and you'll see in just a moment. It was the absolute messiest first nail application. You couldn't see a thing that I was doing. But I wanted to keep this in because in real time, this is how easy it is to apply. You just are going to apply a thin coat to where the extension is going to like meet with your natural nail. And then press it down from cuticle to free edge, ensuring there's no bubbles. So that's what I was checking before I actually cured. I know it's off screen and I promise it gets better, but just so you know what I'm doing. And after trial and error and a little bit of YouTube magic, I was able to kind of set it up this way. This is my second attempt at showing exactly what I'm doing. So I zoomed in just a little bit. I'm going to show you here. I keep the brush pretty flat and then drag the excess towards the cuticle, if that makes sense, just to ensure that I have no bubbles. So if you have bubbles before applying, there's probably going to be some after applying. So I was testing here the light, and then you'll see me press it from the cuticle to the free edge. I believe that, yeah, this was still a failed attempt here, but I believe the next one's way better, so just keep on watching. And we are back with that YouTube magic again. So third attempt here, still showing the same thing, still zoomed in so you can see what I'm doing. The gel, of course, just holding that brush sideways to try to not get any bubbles, or at least as little as possible. And then I changed the lamp so it would be like right next to me, so hopefully you can see this a little bit better. But close up, I am starting at about a 45-degree where the cuticle meets the nail. You don't want to press into the cuticle area, and that's what I'm showing here. Don't press too far in. But really gently just kind of guide the gel down to the free edge. And then this flash cure should only be for about 10 seconds, although I kept it a little bit longer just to kind of talk you through and show you what it looks like before we move on to the next nail. Now applying the thumb here, I went ahead and started my lamp, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I am going 45-degree right at that cuticle base and pushing the gel all the way to the free edge. You don't have to press really hard. It honestly, if you're pressing super hard, you probably should size up a tip. Light pressure, so that way they don't have the tendency to want to like pop off, is going to be the best advice I can give. And finally, this is what they look like fully flash cured. So keep in mind they're not 100% ready, but this is what they'll look like before you do your 60-second cure. And once these come out, we are all ready to prep the nail for paint and to actually get shaping. Alright, and then really quickly here, this is what they look like when they're completely done. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through so you can see me shaping, but I just want to ensure that I am making them just as crisp as possible and kind of straightening them up. So you're going to do side walls and then the free edge right under the number. We are getting to the end here, and they already look so much better. So these ones do kind of taper in a bit themselves. I didn't have to do much there, but I did go ahead and just level off that top, and I absolutely love it. So next we are going to take our e-file. I do have a cone bit on here. It is relatively small. I'm going to use it at a faster setting than we would on the natural nail plate, but we are going to go in and just seal the cuticle. So we'll be going around basically the side walls and the top of the cuticle, being very careful not to actually hit the cuticle, although we do have a safety bit on, so if you did, it's completely fine, it's not going to hurt you. But I will show this one here and kind of talk it through, and then we will just fast forward through the rest. But as you can see, I'm going around the entire area of where the tip actually meet with the natural nail and trying to make that as flush as possible. Now you don't want to overfile, that is totally a thing too. You essentially just want to file enough to clean up any of the gel that may have spilled out when you were pressing down.
wanna share my world. Don't you understand? Your love is a one in a million. It goes on and on and on. You give all day long. Your love is a one in a million. It goes on and on and on. You give me a really good feeling all day long. Maybe you don't know what you do to me. Between me and you, I feel a chemistry. I won't let no one come and take your place. 'Cause the love you give, it can't be replaced. See, no one else, let me like you do. That's why I don't mind to spend my life with you. I wanna please you in any way I can. I wanna share my world. Don't you understand? Your love is a one in a million. It goes on and on and on. You give.
Yay, we're at the final step. So now just taking one of my buffing blocks, which you can also use an e-file if you'd like to, just with a sanding band. You're going to go over the gel tip in its entirety to remove the shine. 100% this is optional. I do it because I want to make sure that there's nothing on the nail surface and that my gel polish sticks as best as possible. I have never had problems with any of my polish lifting for me or for a client, but you don't absolutely have to do this. Essentially, if you're using the gel polish on a gel tip, it's totally fine too, but this is just an extra step that I do. So enjoy the final step, and then I will meet you at the very end. Alright, we have done it, y'all. Everything is done. They are shaped, they are buffed, and so pretty. So my very last step, or the last thing that I always do, is I go back in one last time with my small nail brush. I am going to go ahead and use my 100% acetone here, just because I want to make sure to remove any lint or anything that could be on these nails before we get gel polish on them. Gel polish is so unforgiving and it will show absolutely any error. So you'll just go in and just make sure that that's all removed, and then we are 100% ready. This is also going to make the nail just a little bit tacky, and the surface will be ready for any color or any design of your choice. Stay tuned to my next video and I'll show you what I do with these. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.